So, full disclosure, I was totally about to just make another typical island tour video of my island now that it's finally finished, but then I realized that I don't make very good island tour videos, so instead I'm just gonna wander around my island and point out a few specific things while sharing my thoughts about why I think so many people are so attached to this game and some of the reasons that and honestly, I think many of us choose to keep playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's an escape. It's an opportunity to be somewhere that I actually want to be, in a world where I can feel like I actually have an impact, because in Animal Crossing, I'm kind of the only thing that does. Nothing happens on my island if I don't do it. It's weird, but it's like this pseudo purpose. It's not real, and of course I know that. My impact on my island isn't going to have a ripple effect on the world around me, but I can do something about the state of my island, and it's immediate and visually impactful. Like, look at this. I made this. It was not here. It did not exist until I enacted my passions and my inspiration onto my island, and then it became, like, it's this visually, virtually real thing that my character and villagers can all interact with. I just think that's incredible. I want to feel like I have a purpose. There are things that I want to do that I don't know how to do, that I'm afraid to learn how to do. It's this never-ending cycle of excitement and fear, jubilant joy and tumultuous terror. It's reality. It's the world. I feel safe in Animal Crossing. I can make mistakes. I can take my time. I can try again. The community on my island, the villagers, and even the wandering NPCs and the characters locked away in their building prisons are in their own way supportive and goofy, and despite the repetitive dialogue, it's something that's heartwarming. It's easy. I don't have to think about whether or not buying something from Nook's Cranny means that I'm supporting sweatshops or the exploitation of workers. I can just buy a shovel and not feel guilty about the social implications and the expense of misery that might have gone into the production of that shovel by the very workers who made it. Like, it's just insane, the world that we're living in. And I've learned so much from Animal Crossing. I'm curious again. There are things that I genuinely want to learn more about because I find them interesting and meaningful. I've taken a few online classes on photography, focusing on composition and color theory to help with designing my island. I've spent hours learning about different island themes, and I've studied other players' design strategies. Heck, even with my videos here on YouTube, I've taken courses and watched videos on how to make more engaging content. I'm not all that confident that information is coming through in this video, but that's not really the purpose of why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it's important to me, and I genuinely feel like a lot of us can relate to these feelings. It's important to talk about what we feel and to acknowledge that. If not to each other, then at least to ourselves. I've grown so much as a person, not directly in spite of 2020, though that sure did have its own impact in its own way, but in part because of my relationship to this game. When I first started playing, I was new to the series and to the community of players that had already banded together around this incredible franchise. I found myself growing more and more competitive with myself and even with other players. I wanted to be the very best, like no one ever was. And that realization, and realizing that part of myself existed, that part of myself competitively existed, showed me that there are some not so great truths about the person I was becoming. I care too much about what other people think of me. I've spent so much time trying to contort myself to fit into someone else's expectation of the kind of person I should be, that I struggle to even define how I want to exist in this world. Through playing Animal Crossing and experiencing the shame and the guilt that I felt when I would share images of my island that received negative feedback or even little to no feedback, I was able to recognize that I was giving away the authority and the power to define my worth as a human to random words and numbers being typed by unseen creatures in a void that it felt like it was slowly consuming me. This game, it's opened my eyes to some really ugly truths about myself by shining a light on what I was choosing to focus my energy on. I no longer strive to build the best island ever. I'm working really hard to not care whether or not other people like my island, or even if they like the version of me that takes up residency in their mind. I am my own person. I have my own capacity to impact the world around me. I can impact the world around me. That's such a common sense realization, but it's really all not that common. In short, I play Animal Crossing New Horizons because it's a mirror that reflects back some of the deepest truths of who I am as a person, the good and the needs to be improved upon. Yeah, it's a game, and absolutely I've taken this game far too seriously and to a complete extreme, but I can't ignore my truths anymore. How about you? Why do you play Animal Crossing? What have you learned about yourself through your relationship to the games that you play? What are your specific truths? Leave a comment sharing your answer if you're comfortable with them, and let me know if anything I said resonates with you. I feel like we tend to isolate how we feel to ourselves, thinking that there's no way anyone else feels as deeply or as passionately as you do, and I think it's time we shattered that mold. Your feelings are valid, even if it takes a children's game to help you recognize how you feel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.